right, 7th grade, we had been working on a haunted house in 2-point perspective. And if you haven't gotten some of the details in, that's what you're going to be working on today. That's what they'll be working on in class today. And then I'm going to go over some of the surrounding areas, maybe putting in some trees, or if there's a graveyard, or just some elements to go around it. I'll also show them how to do a little shading and maybe rough up the house a little bit, because right now it probably looks pretty precise. And so we'll add some cracks in some windows and maybe take out some boards here and there, just to give it a little bit more of an older element. Okay, so let's get that started. So once we have our details in our haunted house, we've got some bricks, we've got some siding, we put some different windows here and there. I added a chimney, I added another window up out of the roof here. I put some stairs on my porch. Then we just want to kind of look at the surrounding area. Definitely getting some landscaping in, and by means of that, maybe some type of tree that has no leaves in it. So I start with a simple trunk, and then my branches kind of flare out from there. So I may have some thicker. You don't want to get thicker than the tree trunk itself. So if you notice that it's the same size, either if it gets too large at one end, you can break it into a couple. You can always take and remove pieces. All right, but as it goes outward, then it starts to break down into smaller sections, kind of like a road map. So I think my decision here will be to make this just a little bit larger, all right? Because I really want this to be the thickest part. The other stuff can be a little bit smaller, and then as you go away from there, they just start to, I break them down into twos. And then if I feel like I need to add, something from those, I'll do that as well. But they really should be getting smaller in thickness. All right, this is a simple way of doing it, and it'll look like branches, especially when we go to color it in a little darker. And then when you get up here in the ends, then they're just kind of, the sticks are just kind of connecting to what's going on. So you can get some good landscaping this way. Not all trees are created equal, so maybe I'll try to show you a different type of tree. All right. Maybe I'll have one back here, and it can get kind of gnarly. You just want to make sure that the trunk stays as thick as it possibly can, and then since I am going to color this pretty dark, I can just kind of connect things as I go. This one looks like it has weathered the storm. It doesn't have very much time left before it is firewood. That's pretty thick there. Let's try to break this down a little bit more. And then you can have the, like I did over here, you can have some of the smaller ones kind of break off from it. And then just get rid of my horizon line there. There'll be some grass probably in here later. And there can be some thin ones just coming from wherever. If you really look at a tree, they've got just very random. All right, so a couple different ways of putting that together. And then I'll probably come in with maybe a path, but if I wanted to do maybe some tombstones, maybe there's a slight graveyard over here. Again, I'm not going to make these super huge, because if I look at my proportion to my door, the graves are probably going to be about like that, And so I've got a front and I've got a side, and then there'll be some grass in that area. I could get a little bit more creative, maybe there's a cross. I could use my ruler. I could do some perspective so that they are going out to the point, because we'd like them not to be flat. We'd like them to be a little bit more three-dimensional. You know, again, there's going to be some grass around in here. So watch your proportions. Obviously, you're not making these huge tombstones that are the size of the tree in there. And there can be a little bit of a walkway. You know, kind of comes down this way, has a little curve to it. I could do some elements in the sky as well, having some areas where I'm going to put some clouds. You know, get some dark clouds going on in here. So I'm just going to start laying out the areas of where they're going to be. Could have a moon, you know, something that's going to add a light source. Could put some shadows with that light source if that's what I want to get in there. All right. As far as your building goes, if you wanted to get it to look a little bit older, you know, you can do some shading. We could do some cracks in some windows so that they look like they have been, you know, not every haunted house, or all haunted houses start out brand new and then over time have had neglect to them. All right. You could have cracks in the bricks if that's something you want to add to it. Sometimes I'll erase a shingle or two, or a piece, or not erase, but make one a little bit darker, just so that they have some missing or chunks missing. You know, if you wanted to put some creatures, you know, if there's some bats, again, you got to look at your proportions here. So if I were to do some bats, they're not going to be super huge compared to the house, but I can get things in like that. I can always do some type of shading as well. Underneath this level here will be a little darker. So adding some value to it will help it look a little bit more realistic. This looks like I got something underneath this page here. I don't know whether that's a reflection or if it's a crack in the window there. You know, I can go in also and start to put in some grass, because now I can overlap the building, and I can get all kinds of goofy things on. Maybe there's a rock sitting here. Could be a board or two that has fallen off of the house. Now I can even erase, let's see, there could be a chunk of board missing right here. So that'll be a darker area. You know, maybe that fell off. So as I start to do this, it starts to take this pretty precise house and make it a little bit more weathered. All right. Again, watch your proportions. You're not drawing things that you know, are not going to match up with what's going on around the area. You know, little some shadows. You know, I can start darkening in the tree. I'm just going to have some fun with this and see where, you know, I can get some weathered look on the siding. Shade in some windows. So have a little fun, experiment with some stuff, try to add a little bit of value to what's going on, and it will make your house look a little bit more realistic. All right? So that's adding the detail to your haunted house. You can see I went pretty quick there, but really getting in those small details makes everything look a little bit better. So I know we were adding some bricks and siding before, that surrounding area with some trees. I put in a little grass, I shaded the background so it was a little darker and hazier to give it that gloomy effect. You can experiment with all kinds of things. You can always Google image some different examples of scenery around a haunted house and see what you are able to draw and put into your picture. So next week we'll start something new, and miss you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.